It was Friedrich Nietzsche who created the idea of the Ubermensch, the superhuman who believes that they have a superiority above all others, and that they often look down at others, and can be seen. They see themselves as like a savior or something like that. Pretty much like the complete opposite of Clark Kent. Whereas Clark Kent is trying to help those as Superman. These people are just being better, a superior human being. And for this one, it is applied as a theme in Rope from 1948. Two friends strangle a classmate and then hold a party for the victim's family and friends, while their former teacher, Jimmy Stewart, becomes increasingly suspicious that his students have turned his intellectual theories into brutal reality. And yes, one of the quotes here is, "Nobody commits murder just for the experience of committing it. Nobody except us," says Brandon Shaw. Trivia. This is released August 28, 1948. Rope, Alfred Hitchcock's first color film, has only 9 different takes. Dang. Except for the opening credits, the picture was filmed entirely in a soundstage. The film was shot in several 8-minute uninterrupted takes, which was the maximum amount of film that a camera could hold. The crew wheeled the props and furniture out of the way as the camera moved around the set. Due to the implied homosexuality of the main characters, Brandon Shaw and Philip Morgan, the film was banned in a number of American cities. There are only 2 intentionally visible cuts during the main body of the movie. One when the maid enters to announce a telephone call, another after Rupert Howdell, James Stewart, explains his theory on how Brandon Shaw and Philip Morgan committed the murder. And Hitchcock cameo. Nearly an hour into the film, Hitchcock's profile appears on a neon sign visible through the apartment window. So, this is certainly a very interesting movie. I mean, it's only 83 minutes long, but this was done because to make it seem like it was a production on a play is what I've noticed, and that was intentionally what Alfred was going for. So in order to kind of replicate that, there was a whole bunch of stuff that was done behind the scenes. But then again, when they are talking about all the themes and everything going on, it makes for what feels pretty for a claustrophobic experience, but one you will never, and I mean ever, gosh darn forget. It will make you think of just like, will they get caught? Because that's one of the trademarks of Alfred, is that it's either one that an innocent man is been wrongfully accused, just like in North by Northwest, or people who think that they have gotten away with the perfect crime, but slowly it starts to unravel just through things that other people have known. So this was also handled in Dial M for Murder, which I will review. And it's just, this movie is just so well, expertly crafted. It almost feels like everything is taking place over roughly, 83 minutes, but when some people looked at it, and I think even Hitchcock himself said, this is done in more like an hour and 40 minutes because of like, a couple scenes that waiting for like the teacher to return and getting when the character David gets billed, and they bring his body up and do everything. So it's more like an hour and 40 minutes, but that still doesn't deter from a truly enjoyable scene. Some of the themes presented are like the light in the dark. It's like when everything dark that's going on, they show the actual murder happening. And they said, let's open some light and pretend that this didn't happen. So that's done multiple times. And as it gets darker out, the heaviness of the conversation goes from lighthearted fare to getting more and more dark, literally. They talk about, like, what was the quote of it being? Hang on. Talk about superiority versus inferiority. good and evil, right and wrong were invented for the ordinary average man, the inferior man, because he needs them. And if you're wondering, like, what exactly is going on here, there's a murder that happened with Leopold and Leali, I think in the early 1920s, because they lured a person in, and then they went and billed him. And the reason why they did it, because they subscribed to the Friedrich Nietzschean idea of the Übermensch, and you can still see that stuff going on in society today. And it's just interesting to see how, even though you can commit the perfect crime, it slowly gets unraveled if you like, for one of the characters is a maid, Mrs. Wilson, who's like, yeah, he is like, Brandon and Philip usually give me complete control over planning a party, but today they were very specific, including putting a candelabra on a chest, which is where they store the body. And it seems like things are going very good. It's just little by little when these things just start to unravel like a rope, because a rope is used to strangulate someone, but also at the same time it unravels instead of just being perfect. And I really wish I had like a prop. So I guess this little drawstring would count. It's like this rope could be perfect. It's like, because the film goes all along for an hour and 40 minutes, but I could mess with this and pull this out, and it could not be perfect. It could not be like the perfect crime. So there's also discussions of masculinity, because Brandon's the more confident of the two, and Philip has been the more mousy one. So there's also like the theme of love, and like where this couple, Janet and Kenneth, was like, Janet said that she felt like she could be the I could be the real me around you, rather than just putting on the public persona or whatever, about insecurities and things like that. So there's a lot of stuff that's going inside this tiny apartment. Of course, the performances are all terrific. Farley, whatever his last name is the bold, confident one. Still manages to maintain the facade and everything. And even he starts to crack a little bit while still maintaining confidence, even around Jimmy Stewart. John Dahl, something like that, who plays Philip. He's, of course, actually complete opposite over to the Brandon character. And we get to see him slowly unwind, even playing a piano piece that was didactic and modal. And it's this piano piece that reflects the mood of what's going on. Yeah, specifically in the scene where Philip is being questioned by Rupert, he is playing piano music made up of diatonic and modal phases, which is used to reflect the ebb and flow of tension and Philip, the audience's mood, throughout the exchange. Initially, it's relatively settled, but it becomes increasingly uneasy. The piano music is Polonek's movement, perpetual movement number 1. I don't know. And there's also kind of like an in-joke, like where they're wondering what this movie is about. Suppose that starring Cary Grant and some other actor, and of course it's an in-joke to another one of Hitchcock's movies, Nefarious. So all in all, this is a lively but still claustrophobic movie, and I got great enjoyment from it. I will admit again, because this movie was made almost 80 years ago, not everyone's going to be the biggest fan of the pacing. This was seen as revolutionary for back in the time. So I was keeping that in mind, and like thinking this is how a bunch of intellectuals would hang out, and how a professor would look at his students and things like that. So it's one of those. It's something that could maybe still kind of happen. But also it's what I just saw, and I'm like, okay, I like the way how they handle everything, and there were some really tense moments of if you think that the body is really going to be discovered or not. I thought about roughly an hour in, they were finally going to find it. This gosh darn close, but ultimately no. What happens in the end? Well, it's right there on Wikipedia if you want to read it, so I'm not going to stop you. So yeah, Rope would the production of Rope would also give rise to continuous long takes on other movies, TV shows, very specifically in Birdman or the Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, One Cut of the Dead, that, what is that, 90, that, there was this one samurai movie or something like that, that had, like, maybe no edits or one, so yeah. So if you want to see a movie that is very tense, that is very claustrophobic, in very intense, insane production, and truly a unique, ahead of its time movie, then I recommend that you watch Rope.